Hi, my name is Laura. I'm a compulsive eater and I'm abstinent today because I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the GreySheet. I write them down, I commit them to my sponsor. I don't eat in between meals no matter what, and I eat those meals as committed no matter what. I make abstinence my first priority today, and I'm abstinent by the grace of God and by the help and the support and the example of our wonderful worldwide GreySheet community. And I'm really happy today to have the opportunity to talk a bit about my GreySheet abstinence and how it's different from just going on a diet. First of all, I'm in my local home group right now we're in a meeting and we're doing these shares. And what's different is that's the beginning start of it being different. It's not just me doing a diet and got to lose 10 pounds by the weekend so I can get ready. It's actually December 30th, Friday, December 30th. The great beginning of all diets is January 1st. The great ending of all diets is January 2nd. Or some, rarely do people make it, very long. But for me, that's the beauty of it. I don't have any New Year's resolutions really this year. I may think about a word of intention that I want to practice, a spiritual quality, possibly of simplicity or something like that. But I'm not making any resolutions, and I'm not going on any diets. And I started my GreySheet journey about it's over 13 years ago. I will be my abstinence date is March 11th of 2004. So if a day at a time I make it to this coming March 11th, it'll be 13 years at that point of back-to-back GreySheet abstinence, which is a frigging miracle. I mean, what diet lasts 12 years and 9 months, and counting. So that's the major difference. It's a day at a time program. It's surrender. It's not willpower. It's also not deprivation. I eat delicious food that I love 3 times a day. One thing that sometimes I can eat so much, and it's weighed and measured, but it might be a really particularly rich combination of food. I remember going out to eat at an Indian restaurant for the first time with a bunch of GreySheeters, actually in London, because I got abstinent in Europe, in Belgium, and I met my first GreySheeters, or first kind of the first GreySheeters I met were in London, and we went out at a roundup, and we went out for dinner, and we had this amazingly abundant Indian dinner. And I felt like I'd binged. I mean, it almost was too much, but it was abstinent and it was weighed and measured. And I started to, anyway, I just want to get across the point that we love our food and we celebrate our food and we try to make our food as delicious as possible. Sometimes my food is not 100% delicious because I'm going for convenience rather than a number 10 meal. But whenever I can, and I make the time to enjoy everything that I eat, to pick the biggest fruits, the gooeyest, the, whatever, etc. So I'm going to like it. And that's the difference with a diet. Diets are not enough food, craving, hungry, waiting for them to be over. It was always like the magical 4-day diet or 2-week diet or whatever. And the point is, whether or not I lost the weight, I could never keep the weight off. I would be irritable and discontented, and starving, like obsessing about, okay, it's a 4-day diet. When I was a teenager, I did the 4-day diet. I lost, 8 or 10 pounds. And the next week I had the 8 or 10 pounds back again. So, the reality is it didn't work. Here, what works is it's about the food and we love our food, but, there's a component of why do I eat? I eat for a lot. Why did I eat compulsively? I ate for lots of reasons. I was trying to fill, along with the cravings, I was trying to fill a spiritual hole. I was eating over resentments. I was eating, for a million reasons I wasn't even aware of. When I got abstinent, I was able, putting down the food, eating those delicious meals a day, I started to do step work. I started to have clarity about what the feelings were that I was eating over. I never had that in a diet. That it's just not part of it. I have emotional support, and now when it's Christmas, New Year's, birthdays, whatever the day is, whatever the celebration is, I don't eat no matter what, but I eat 3 delicious weighed and measured meals no matter what. And I get the emotional support that I need to be successful at that. So I wish you all a great journey on finding whatever works for you. And if you think you want what we have, please come join us, no matter what. Bye bye.
Hi, my name is Eileen. I'm a compulsive overeater. I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the GreySheet. I don't eat in between no matter what. And abstinence is the most important thing in the world to me. And I'm here today to talk about what the difference is between a diet and the GreySheet food plan, or GreySheet abstinence, I should say. So for me, I know a lot about diets because before I came into this fellowship, I was always on a diet for a brief amount of time. I would be on a diet, as a high school kid, as a middle school kid. I was on diets that were really strange, like eat the same kind of food, at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or you could eat the same kind of food all day long, but no other kind of food, and you're supposed to lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks or something. And I would try those crazy diets and not last the whole 2 weeks and not lose the weight, but just feel sick from eating the same kind of food. And I counted calories with my mom and always waited for that magic number on the scale when I could stop eating those awful foods that were my diet foods, foods without any fat included, foods that were dry and just gross, anything that made the food flavorful was denied with the calorie counting that I did. The sourest fruits, just the driest kind of proteins, just disgusting. So anyway, mostly for me, what a diet was some awful experience that I endured only until I could be off the diet again. And sometimes I lost weight on these things, but the point was that I would be able to do something different again. And the different thing was eating the same old foods that I loved that would always make me gain weight and be unhappy and have cravings. So, the whole time I was on those diets, I was craving the food I really wanted to eat, and I couldn't wait until I could be off the diet. That was my experience of a diet. Now, for GreySheet abstinence, it's completely different. There are foods that I no longer eat at all because they cause cravings. And so when I abstain from eating those foods, those sugars and carbohydrates and the foods that are not on the GreySheet food plan, then I don't have cravings for those foods anymore, which is amazing. The other thing that's different about the GreySheet food plan is I get to choose from a list of foods that are okay on, that are on the GreySheet, and I get to eat only the foods that I like, and I get to eat them every time I want to, in the prescribed amounts that are healthy for me, that my sponsor and I work out. And so once I have the foods that I like, I get to eat 3 meals a day that I enjoy, that are abundant. It's amazing how many vegetables you can include in a salad that are just really tasty and colorful and really fill me up. And so what I have on the GreySheet food plan that I do not have on any other diets that I've ever tried is a sense of I'm satisfied, I've enjoyed my food, I have lots of it in my belly that's digesting, and it feels really good to be able to eat food that I really like and that I don't have to feel guilty about. And that I know 4 hours to 6 hours later, I get to have another wonderful GreySheet meal. And, I have certain food that I like to eat for breakfast every day. And I can eat it every single day if I want to. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's funny, when I first started calling my food into my sponsor, I was a little embarrassed and worried. I thought she's going to not like the food. There's something wrong with the food that I like on the gray sheet. I'm doing it wrong somehow, because always before, my choices were for the very worst things for my body. Things that my body was absolutely addicted to, things that once I started eating them, I couldn't stop eating them. And in the Gray Sheet, first of all, I work with a sponsor who helps me, who's also Gray Sheet abstinent, who's been there longer than I have. And I get to eat food that I enjoy 3 times a day. I never feel deprived. And it works for me. My body loves it, and I'm not overweight. So I've been doing this now for a very, very long time, and I hope I keep doing it forever. Thanks.